Alright, today we're going to take a look at one of my favorite Bobby tunes, Looks Like Rain. Looks Like Rain was written by Bob Weir and lyricist John Barlow and first appears on the 1972 Bobby album Ace. The version on Ace is very different than what the song ended up morphing into over the years as the band played it. The version that appears on Ace is kind of a slow country ballad. It has pedal steel. And the versions that you hear the band play in 1972 in their Europe tour is closely resembles what you hear on Ace. But then later on, Bobby picks up that really cool opening lick with an E chord, and his playing on this song is just really great. It just really epitomizes Bobby's playing. Alright, so let's take a look at it. First, let's take a look at the chords Bob's using. So, Bob Weir is very much, he uses every inversion of open chords he can find. So, if you're not familiar with the cage system, I really urge you to go out there and learn it. Because Bobby uses the cage system to play different inversions of chords, and Jerry uses the cage system as a way to navigate the changes when he solos. So it's really worth learning, but we're going to take a look at the chords that Bobby uses in Looks Like Rain. So we're going to start with this C cage shaped of an E chord. So if you think of a C chord right here, if you were to rearrange your fingers and move that up so your index finger's on the 4th fret like a capo, we have an E chord. But what Bob does here is he utilizes that open string as much as possible throughout the song. So instead of just playing this as a half bar with our index finger, we're going to play it like this so we can have that high E string ring out. So first we have our E chord. Alright, so next we have an A chord that looks like this. It's off the G cage shape, so you think of a G chord. But we're just gonna play the bottom 5 strings. So we have 5th string of the 5th fret of the 6th string, 4th fret of the 5th string, then bar down the 2nd frets of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Alright, next we have a C sharp 7 with a G sharp in the bass. So if you think of a C7 chord down here, we're just going to move that up to the 4th fret. Then we're going to play the 4th fret on the 6th string instead of our C sharp bass. And the reason why he does that is because you get some nice movement with the bass lines. So far we have an E chord, A C sharp 7 with G sharp in the bass. Then we have an F sharp minor chord. As Jerry often plays, we're playing this with the thumb in the bass. So instead of this bar shaped right here, we're just going to bar the top 3 strings of the 2nd fret. Then we're going to play the 4th frets of the 5th and 4th strings with our ring and index fingers respectively. Then we're going to pull around the thumb for that 2nd fret in the bass. And the reason why we do that is so we can then, you'll see that we have a nice little line on the 1st string that Bobby's using with his pinky. So we'll need to keep that pinky free. Alright, so now let's take a look at the B chord. The B is going to be the same as the A, but moved up 2 frets. So our root is now on the 7th fret of the 6th string. Then a C sharp minor chord, and F sharp minor. So C sharp minor on the 4th fret of the 5th string, that's where our root is. Then we move that up to the 9th fret, for our F sharp minor. Alright, then we have the C sharp minor again, a B minor, so we move our C sharp minor down 2 frets, the root's on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Alright, then we have our A, our C sharp 7 again with the G sharp in the bass, our F sharp minor, back to E, B. Alright, so those are the chords for the first section. The chorus part, we start with an A sus4, so we have our open A string, then we have the 7th frets of the 4th and 3rd strings, and the 5th frets of the 2nd and 1st string. And that moves to a normal A chord. Then our F sharp minor again. Now we have a D. This is the same as our E chord, but moved down 2 frets, so the root's on the 5th fret of the 5th string. Then our A chord again, E. We have our F sharp minor again, our B chord. Alright, now we're going to play a G sharp sus to G. So this is the same as the A sus, but we're not going to have the 5th string in this one. Since the 5th string is an A and that was our root, we played it, but now we're just going to play the top 4 strings. So we have 6, 6, 4, 4, then 6, 5, 4, 4. So we move to a G sharp chord. We have a C sharp minor again, then a C sharp minor with a B in the bass, so we just take, so it's actually a C sharp minor 7 because we're taking off this root and we get the 7th there, and we're using our pinky to play the 7th fret of the 6th string, so that's a C sharp minor 7 with a B in the bass. Then we play our A chord. Alright, now this is where we have some fast changes. So we're going to play an E chord, and then using our fingers. Alright, now we have our thumb on the 6th fret of the 6th string, and we have our middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and our index finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And we just play those 3 notes. Then we play a B chord. Then we play that same thing up 2 frets, so now the thumb's on the 8th fret, then we have the middle finger on the 8th fret of the 3rd string, and the index finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. Then a C sharp minor chord to an F sharp minor 7, so it's the same thing as our F sharp minor, but we take off the pinky, so we have a minor 7 chord. Then we have our E, followed by the same fingering as the A sus4, but without the bass. So we just play those top 4 strings, but now the bass is playing a D, so we actually get a D sus2. Then we have our A chord, then an F sharp minor 7. Alright, so that's all the chords. Now let's see how Bobby puts them together. Alright, let's take a look at a chart for Looks Like Rain. So we have an A section, which is 16 measures long, followed by a B section, which is also 16 measures long. So we're working with a 32 bar form. Alright, so that A section is essentially the verse, and the B section is essentially the chorus, and you'll see what I mean by that. Alright, let's take a look at the song structure or the form of Looks Like Rain. Alright, so we begin with an A section, that 16 measure A section, which is the first verse, followed by the 16 measure B section, which is the chorus. So that's our 32 bar form, and we repeat all of that. Another A section, which is the second verse. But then our B section is not a chorus, but the main guitar solo. So after the main guitar solo, we repeat the 32 bar form again. So we have an A section, which is the third verse, and that's followed by a B section, which is now our second chorus. So after the second chorus, We then repeat that E to D sus2 to A to F sharp minor, which becomes our end tag. So that 2-measure end tag repeats over and over while Bobby has a vocal ad lib and Jerry noodles around on the guitar. So all this happens until the band decides to cue each other and then end the song. So there we go. That's the song structure or the form for It Looks Like Rain. So the intro starts off. You're just slightly strumming this E chord with the open E string. Then we're doing this nice little arpeggio. It's a E sus arpeggio. So here would be, that's our E triad. Then we're adding the A, which is the sus4. So we hammer on from the 6th fret of the 4th string to the 7th fret. And then we just play the 3rd string, 2nd string. So we have. Then we come back down and play the 4th string and the 5th string. So we have. Alright, so for the intro we do that 4 times. Then when the verse starts we do it 1 time, so we have. Then we're going to play that again, but this time after we hammer onto the 7th fret, play the 4th fret of the 3rd string and the 5th fret of the 2nd string, we're then going to pull off from the 7th to the 6th fret on the 4th string and play the 7th fret of the 5th string. So we have. Then we move to our A chord. And then to our, so that's for 2 beats. Then our C sharp 7 with the G sharp and the bass for 2 beats. And then we have our F sharp minor chord. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're just strumming an F sharp minor chord. Then we're going to remove the pinky from the 4th fret of the 4th string. And we're going to add it to the 4th fret of the 1st string and then slide up to the 5th fret of the 1st string. So we have. Gives some nice little voice leading, some movement. And then we back to our E chord. So we have. B. Alright, so what we have there with our C sharp minor chord, we're going to pull off the 5th fret of the 2nd string and then add it back on. And then we play quick little down up on the F sharp minor chord and then our E chord. That's down, up, down. Alright, now we have a C sharp minor chord. B minor, A, C sharp. So that was the A, the C sharp 7 with G sharp in the bass again, the F sharp minor, same move, to B, and then the same thing with the C sharp minor. Alright, so that's our verse. Then for the chorus, we alternate 2 beats of A sus4, 2 beats of A, and we do that twice. Then we have F sharp minor for 2 beats, D for 2 beats, A for 2 beats, and E for 2 beats. Alright, so that looks like this. Then F sharp minor, B, and E. We do our little arpeggio, and then we go into G sharp sus to G sharp. Then we have a C sharp minor for 2 beats, then our C sharp minor 7 with the B and the bass, then our A chord, alright, and this is probably the most challenging part. So we get 1 beat per each, 1 chord per each beat in the measure. So we have E, F sharp 7 with an A sharp in the bass, B, G sharp 7 with the B sharp in the bass, then a C sharp minor chord. So what we're doing is we're starting off with an E chord, then we're getting, Bobby makes it so then we just have a smooth bass line, just walk up from an A sharp to a B sharp to a C sharp minor. But instead of playing that C sharp up here on the 9th fret of the 6th string, we're going to play this C sharp minor chord we have been playing. So we have E. Alright, so there's 2 ways to really look at this chord. One, you could think of these 2 as passing chords, and just think of them as diminished chords. But more likely it seems like they're secondary dominants, which, I mean, that and the... So these are basically the same chords, either being diminished or these secondary dominants. But if you look at it like this, we have an E chord and then nothing. So it'd be like 2 beats of E, 2 beats of B, and then we go to our C sharp minor chord. But to add some movement in there, we have an E chord, and then we're going to play the 5 of 5. So the 5 chord of a B chord is an F sharp 7. So if you think of that right here, an F sharp 7, but we're just going to play these 2 notes, and then we're going to play the 3rd of the chord up here, down here as the bass note. And then that takes us right there to the B chord. And then if we're going to the C sharp minor chord, a 5 of C sharp minor is a G sharp 7. So we do that same thing up 2 frets. And we have the 3rd in the bass, so it creates a smooth bass line. And then we have our C sharp minor chord. And this is definitely how Bobby plays it. I've got some video I'll show you. Alright, so we have our E chord, and then the same shape as the A sus4, but without the A bass note. Now the bass is playing a D, so it turns it into a D sus2 chord. Then we play our A, then our F sharp minor. So really lock this in, because at the end of the song, when Bobby's just ad-libbing and Jerry's playing around, this is just what's repeated over and over during the whole Looks Like Rain ad-lib. If you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and be sure to share this video. It really helps my channel out a lot, and I will see you next time.